All right, guys. This one is a little different. I don't even know where to start with this. I do not want to get in between developers and owners that are, kind of arguing between each other and things like that. I like to try to just provide an honest viewpoint and not like get in the middle of drama between different parties. Now, with that, BUSD crops farmer team and the mountain miner guys, they're kind of at each other's throat right now, and it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like the crops farmer side could be a little more professional in the way they're handling it, and I also feel the mountain miner guys could also just kind of chill out and just worry about your DApp and make it better. If it's better than something else, people will find it and they will invest if it's better. And that's my view on it. I think both sides are kind of blowing this way out of proportion about what's going on, and we'll talk about that. So what happened is the guys over at Mountain Miner, that I can show you this, and I've got some views on this, and I'll save those for after I talk about this. These guys kind of got into it on Telegram with the guys at Crops Farmer, and I don't know, the whole thing. In my view, like I'm coming at this from the outside, kind of looking in. I got back from taking a break, and this kind of all exploded in the last couple days. I think there was just a lot of bad form on both sides, and I'm not trying to like take sides. I'm not going to say Mountain Miner is justified in what they're doing, and I really don't like what Crops Farmer is doing. They're just removing everybody from the group that even talks about this stuff, and just be upfront with it and just say it how it is. You don't have to ban people for just saying, hey, what's with this code that people found. Just say, yeah, it's possible, but we need that flexibility. I mean, that's all I would say if I were them. They could have added some more bounds around some of the code they made, but that once you deploy something in launches, you can't go back. So let me tell you what's going on. Yeah, so the mountain miner guys, confronted the guys at Crops Farmer saying you got all this, code that could, rug and it's not secure and blah, blah, blah. And said, we have a better miner. And I think they're just trying to, obviously gain some traction. I don't blame them for doing that, but I don't think this is the way to do it. If you have something better, just put it out there, market it, ignore the other guys. Like I said before, I repeated this before. If you've got a better miner, put it out there and prove it. You don't have to rip everybody else down to make yours better. Yes, there's flaws in code. There's flaws in a lot of things. I've been in software development for a long time, and I still haven't seen a perfect application that has 0 bugs and 0 problems. So, and I'm not trying to justify BUSD Crops Farmer. I'm just saying that if you're going to sit there and nitpick every little thing that you're going to find in somebody's code, you're going to find something. So, whatever. So what I'm saying here is these guys, they went through the Crops Farmer's code and found all these things and kind of threw a big stink about it. And then I don't know how they got Haze Crypto involved, but Haze Crypto did an announcement today, and I'll show that here, that says basically don't get involved in the Crops Farmer stuff because we found this stuff in it. And yeah, and I understand why this is, people are concerned. There's a level of trust that has to happen, but with this, you're not going to find perfect code. Now the problem I have with this is it seems like the mountain miner guys are going after these guys just to scalp their users and not because they're actually concerned about the code. And let me tell you why. You know, I talked with the guys there, and before you freak out and like, you know, because I know you follow my channel, I know you're listening to me, before you freak out, I'm not taking sides on this. I can show you exactly, here is the Baked Beans team, here's their code and their contract, and we can read their contract, and they have code in here similar to what Haze Crypto is talking about. If we scroll down here, blah blah blah, you can update your daily reward right here. And so Baked Beans could, you know, take down the front end site, you know, confuse people, ramp this sucker up to 1,000,000% and start just raking in money off this thing and drain it. They could do the same thing. So if you're upset, you know, and Haze Crypto is going to, you know, rake crops farmers over the coal about this, why are they not like going after Baked Beans? You know, there's all these different contracts out there with this same kind of stuff, and they're not like, you know, writing against them. You know, you got like the cats and all sorts of different miners out there now, and there's a bunch of forks now off of crops farmers that have this code, and you're not like raking, you know, going after those guys. So the way I'm seeing it is, yes, I think the auditing company for BUSD crops farmer really messed up, and they don't, you know, in they're saying that they're suspect that their auditors are like part of their team or their friends, or they're just not a very good auditing company. And this is coming from Haze Crypto, guys. Haze probably isn't the big shining beacon of an example to you know, throw stones when it comes to auditing things. I mean, how many things have been audited by Haze Crypto that then rugged or had serious problems? So yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of people in glass houses throwing stones at each other, and it's not working out well. Honestly, I think it looks bad for both sides. Crops farmer should have just said, yeah, whatever, and just answered and said, hey, we need that functionality to, you know, change things. Let me show you an example. In crops farmer, this is BUSD version. I talked to the guys over there, and I had them change this because it was pretty terrible. Blah blah. This market eggs divisor, for instance, if it's a low value, then what it'll do is whatever value of the eggs that could be added to the market eggs, whatever the value is when you compound or withdraw, that's the divisor it uses. So it's divided by 1, it's going to put 100% of the value eggs back into market eggs, and the inflation would go crazy. You could change it to, you know, 5 and it'll be 20%, which would bring it down. So they've actually changed that since launch. So things like this, you know, could be very, very useful, and that's it's shown to be useful because they can kind of adjust and roll with inflation as it goes up and down and the balance changes. One thing that they didn't do though is they didn't account for, you know, somebody could put market egg divisor of 0 in here, and then of course when you try to do a division of 0, it's going to fail and you can't, like, you know, purchase or compound and stuff like that. So that's you know, the big problem with that one. And there's other issues that they found that's all based around this stuff where they can change some values around, you know, what they can and can't do. And you have to realize this is the first time people have done this is on the crops farmers, where you can change these values and adjust values as you go. These guys kind of started, you know, actually creating some bounds around what they do. And with that, it's been very beneficial. They can change and change things, but with that comes the opportunity to misuse these things. So yeah, I mean, they could change the the bonus daily compound and all that stuff. They can change that. They can change the minimum investment, the cutoff steps. That one basically has no upper bounds. They can change these things, but it's very different than, for instance, the AVAX version of baked beans over here, which has no limit on how much they could ramp up that daily reward. So, you know, if you're gonna sit there and rake crops farmers over their coals about this, how about you go after baked beans too and say, don't touch baked beans AVAX? Haze Crypto, why don't you do that? Like, these aren't the first things that's happening. I didn't know that you guys would kind of police all dApps unless you got paid for it. So, and it's interesting to see an auditing company audit something that they haven't been paid to audit and then blast that out there. I didn't realize that Haze is now kind of the police of DeFi. That's just kind of suspect. So what I'm saying here, guys, is yes, these functions can be used for things that are not good, but they also made it so they could fix things like inflation. And without that, this thing, you know, people would still be compounding and just, you know, making less and less and less all the time. So yeah, what I have to say about this is I think crops farmers, guys, should just, you know, settle down. Don't worry about, you know, people throwing shade at them or whatever, and stop just banning people from your group because they bring up a question about this. Just say, hey, you know, yes, those functions come with risk, but they provide a lot of flexibility in making this thing more sustainable. That's all you'd have to say. And then move on. And, you know, of course, if somebody keeps, you know, going on and on and on about it, then you could ban them, but just don't ban people for making a simple question or statement or something. You know, just answer like adults, honestly. That's all I'm asking. And Mountain Miner, you know, I know you guys, you know, you've been messaging me, you've been, you know, you're in my group, you know, I know you mean well, but, you know, don't worry what crops farmer guy is doing. Who cares what he says? He might call you names, he might say whatever, but if you've got a superior product, market it as a superior product and move on. Ignore them. Who cares? Honestly. You know, and as I look at this, I see you guys launched across all these different chains, and I had no idea, you know, this thing was even coming out. You know, I just found out about it in the last couple of days. But this never works well when you launch, you know, something so close together across different tokens and chains, you know, a day apart. It just fragments everything, and as time goes on, these things get less and less. You know, if you want to be an awesome miner, you know, focus on BUSD and USDC. Right now, everybody would love that if you would have just launched on those and really pushed those. Instead, what you have to do is now you have to maintain marketing across all of these different chains, and it's tough. It's very hard. You know, just getting one dApp out there, but when you spread it across 7 different tokens, it is hard to really push that forward. Because people go here and what they'll do is be like, well, I've got some AVAX, so I'll stick some in AVAX, and then that's it. And then you're fragmenting your balances across all these different chains and tokens. If you have a superior product and people have, for instance, I don't know, some Matic in their wallet, and you've got a really good product, they will bridge it over to AVAX if that's what your thing is on, and if it's really good. People will do that. But don't just launch these things across so many different chains. You know, we've seen this across the ROI dApps, we've seen it across all these different things where people launch these things and spread them out, and it never really works very well. Yeah, you just fragment all of your balances and it spreads them across all these different things. and then your balances look kind of crappy because cumulatively you've got a pretty good balance if you add them all together. But each one individually, people look at it and go, well, I want to get into, for instance, USDC. We look at it, we look at the contract, and it's got $1,600 in it. You might have the best thing in the world, but because all this stuff is fragmented, instead of having $100,000 here, if it's all added together into one dApp, I'm looking at $1,600 and saying no, I'm good. That's just something you have to think about when you launch this kind of stuff. You do want to launch across all these different chains, and you want to be representative in these chains, but just start with one, launch it, and if it's really good, people will come to it. But when you've got it spread across all these different things, it doesn't work out very well. And I'm just providing this isn't like criticism saying this thing's bad, it's horrible, or anything like that. And I think a lot of people in this space tend to think I come off with like that I'm just bashing these things. I'm just trying to provide critical feedback and as to what I've seen in the space, what I've seen happen in the past. You might come at me and say that I'm, fudding or whatever, but that's just the way these things work. I've seen this. I've seen them launch across different chains with tokens. I've seen them try to save one ROI dApp with another one. I've seen all these things before, and this isn't my first rodeo into these things. So, if you want my advice on this, I would say, market one of these. BUSD is a great one. USDC, the current market, it's really kind of in flux right now as to what's going to happen in the coming months with crypto, and is the bear market going to last a long time? But there's a lot of uncertainty. So those stablecoin things are really good right now. So yeah, that's just my advice on this. Take it for what it's worth. Yeah, like I said, this video is not meant to be, me taking side and saying mountain miner is all at fault or crops farmer is gonna rug or anything like that. Everybody just hears the word rug pull and they just focus on that and all scream panic and leave. I mean, I remember baked beans was down for I think the front end was down for 10 minutes and everybody, Telegram was full of people saying baked beans is rugged, it's all gone, because the front end of the site was down. Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, anyway guys, that's just my take on this. The problem is we have just, it's so many dApps out there, so many developers, and you can't take Haze Crypto at their word. I mean, they've been somewhat questionable as to, who they've been involved with. There's been instances where it looked like they've been very, very closely tied with developers of certain dApps and things like that. So for Haze Crypto to come out and take a stance on this, it's pretty wild. My question is, did somebody pay them for this? And yeah, it's just odd that Haze Crypto would do this out of the goodness of their heart, that they would look through that code and publish something without some money, because that is not what Haze Crypto does. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Is crops farmer gonna rug and it's gonna go away? I don't know, probably not, honestly. I mean, their balance was up and it's been falling a bit. If they were to rug, they probably would have done it a week or two ago when it hit its peak. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense that they would, rug, after it's been going down for a while. So yeah, that's just my take on it. Just everybody just needs to calm the heck down and just don't worry about it as much. I mean, yeah, we all have money in these things. Honestly, my view of crops farmer is I don't know. I like that they have all the bounds in them, but I am pretty darn sick of having to compound twice a day. You know, sometimes I forget, and you know, I have a similar problem with detonator over on EMP money, and that one just drives me crazy because, you know, if I'm out for 3 days or something and I don't have internet connectivity, I lose all the profit I could have made, and I can't compound during those times. Yeah. I'm seeing sustainability as like, I don't know. I might do a whole video on just sustainability and what that kind of means to me. And having to sit there and baby an app like all the time and doing it several times a day is getting kind of old, and I'm kind of hating it at this point. But yeah, tell me what your thoughts are on that. But yeah, honestly, I don't think crops farmers DApps are going to rug pull. You know, it would take a very big effort on their part to do that. Honestly, because you could see exactly what was going on. I mean, it's not like they could hide that if they change one of those values, because it's in the contract. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, anybody that's crying wolf and screaming about the sky's falling on crops farmers just needs to calm the heck down for a minute. But yeah, like I said, I'm not taking sides here. I don't think they're gonna rug. Mountain miner might be a great miner. I would just say focus on one of these things. That's kind of the summary of this, is just calm down. Don't listen to all the, you know, speculation that's not actually based around fact, and, you know, just take a step back and breathe for a minute. Anyway, guys, that's kind of it. This is kind of a strange welcome back video from me taking a break for a bit. I am very close to having the front end of my DApp going. I actually have a good bit of the code sent to me from the developer, so that turned out not to be a scam. So he's got to make a few tweaks to that, but it's looking pretty darn good. Yeah, and I'll give you updates throughout this week. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, if you're not subscribed yet, you know where the red button is. Yeah, hit the bell notification if you want to hear my ramblings, and we will catch you in the next one.